Welcome to Mudville, podcast about baseball and cinema. I'm Brody Staub.
I'm Nolan Rabine.
We hope you enjoy.
Oh, man.
Everybody's least favorite sports network, Bally Sports.
Soon to be bankrupt.
Soon, I think they already are.
Yeah, currently showing like 3 teams' games for free.
If I know anything about business, which I don't think it's great to give stuff away for free. But, you know.
You see, it was my understanding that you knew a lot about business.
That's why this is Mudville, the business and economics podcast.
I thought that they called you Business Brody.
They do, but that means something else.
What does it mean?
I
You give them the business.
I give them the. I'm known to known to poke ribs. Physically, not metaphorically. Anyway,
Why don't you tell us about your dream?
okay, yeah.
Night?
So I had a dream. I think last night I had a dream that I was at an Oakland A's baseball game.
That's a nightmare.
You'd think. So what happened in this game? I remember in the dream, I was at the stadium, and I was like, "Wait, I'm at the Oakland Coliseum for an A's game," and that like hit me for some reason. And then there was a crowd. So I was like, also, this probably looked nothing like the actual Oakland Coliseum. I just like knew it was. You know what I mean in a dream where you're like, you know where you are, but it doesn't necessarily mean it's actually where you are.
Yeah, it's like you look at the field for 1 second,
Yeah.
and then you like turn your head and you're in middle school science
like
class.
wherever.
Yeah,
like,
no, of course.
Yeah. But I did look around. I was like, this is the Oakland Coliseum, and I'm watching an A's game. And it was like packed. Also, I've been to the Oakland Coliseum, so I know that it's like not it, but it was like the hottest day of my entire life was going to an A's game. I remember
You've been to the Oakland Coliseum?
I have.
Oh, yeah. Well,
we went to
okay,
a
that
game,
makes
and I was
sense.
very little. And I remember getting ice cream because it was so freaking hot. But it was actually really fun, too. We had good seats because they were probably really cheap. In the Oakland Coliseum, there was like a foul ball that came at me in the dream. And I missed it, and I was like running after it, and then all these other people were like running after it and chasing for it, and there was like a scrum, and then it went down the steps of the stadium, and everybody was like chasing it down the stairs, and we ended up way down below. Like it like bounced all the way down to field level, and everyone was like chasing it around. And then I realized like once I got the ball and I like grabbed it, and like some other people were like, "Hey!" Like people were like mad at me for getting the ball.
Sure.
And I was like, "That's a weird thing." Like I got the ball, and I was like, "That's okay." But I looked around and I realized in the dream that it was the day that the Oakland fans are going to be filling the stadium. Like it was like,
Oh my God, this is a very detailed dream.
I don't know why I have not been spending that much time thinking about the A's.
This is a dream that seems based in a surprising number of layers of reality.
Yeah, there's like a lot going on that's real.
Okay.
Like
Like you seem
yeah.
to be more tapped in than I usually am when I'm dreaming here.
I no, seriously. That is a thing that I've noticed actually. I'm like borderline lucid dreaming sometimes. It's kind of fun. I wish it was actually lucid dreaming. That'd be kind of cool. But,
Yeah.
never done that.
I've had
But,
some weird dreams lately.
Yeah,
But
just being aware,
going.
being
Yeah.
more aware. There's not much other to the story other than that.
Oh,
I realized
okay.
that I was in
Well,
the
didn't-
Oakland Coliseum and realized that it was the day that everyone was supposed to be filling the stadium, and then the A's were like playing great. It was just really funny.
Like, do
I was-
they?
I
I mean,
woke up
we're gonna.
confused as shit. Like, why am I dreaming about that?
We'll talk about this in a little bit because
Yeah.
we've got some more about the Oakland A's. But are they even going to
A's
do that
content.
anymore? Like, is there is there even a point now?
To what? Oh, to filling the stadium?
Yeah.
I mean, look. I like it as a show of respect from the fans for a team that, don't have a lot to play for. So it's like, hey, we are still here. We're rooting for you. Just, you're not very good. We'll let you know that we're here, but that's about it. I don't know. It's sad. It's very depressing. Like, if I was thinking about this the other day, I was talking to somebody, and I was like, if this was my baseball team, and they just purposefully were just, like, absolutely just draining the team of talent just so that they could get out of, the city where I live and have, whatever. It would just be so sad.
And it's like part of my culture and
Yeah.
identity, and
Yeah.
it's really
It's
terrible.
your baseball team. You love your baseball team.
We'll get into that in a little bit, but not to turn this into the dreams podcast,
Yeah.
but you had another baseball dream a while back that I know that we haven't ever mentioned on the podcast, and I'd like you to mention. It's the one where you brought a ball for Ohtani to sign.
Oh my God, I forgot
Yeah.
about that. Oh,
It was-
wow.
When you said that to
Yeah.
me about Oakland, like for some reason I envisioned that they would be playing the Angels, and then I
Yeah.
was like, wait, didn't he also have another dream about and then okay, so
Wait, I don't remember that one too well. I do remember
I just remember
that
one specific part that
I
makes me
texted
laugh.
here. I texted my girlfriend the story so I can read the text
Oh,
that
yeah,
I sent
okay.
to her about describing it. So I said Nolan and I were at an Angels game, but not in Yankee Stadium, of course. And I got 2 foul balls like immediately, but I had brought one with me to get Ohtani's signature. And at one point, I dropped a bunch of cash on the ground and put the balls on a bleacher. And after a minute, I looked up and some dude was like, "All right, bro, you're all set." And I was like, "What?" And he handed me back the 3 balls, and he signed them. And I was like, "Dude, did you just sign these?" He goes, "Yeah, man, in 3 different spots. Here you go." And I was like, "Wait, dude, those were for Ohtani. What the shit?" He goes, "Oh, wait, I can do Ohtani too." And I looked at it, and he put down like a number that I couldn't read because it's a dream. You know, you can't
Yeah,
read in
sure.
sports. But I remember
It's
looking at it. I was like, "Why did you write a number on my ball?"
11d6
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah. And I remember I was like, but like I do remember specifically in the dream that there were like 2 little dots above the number, and then it said Samuel X. And it was written in the sweet spot. I remember this so vividly now. Like, dude.
Samuel
Like, what is wrong? Who are you? Why are you
It's like
signing
a-
my baseballs? It's like, and then I tried to beat him up in the dream, and that's all I remember.
He was like a performance artist.
He's like,
Named
some
Samuel
dude,
X.
Samuel X.
He's a
and like,
descendant of Malcolm.
like, dude, I got you. Like, you wanted me to sign these, right? Like, dude,
He's like, these were for me, of course.
these are for Shohei Ohtani. Who the fuck are you, Samuel X? Like, of course, no. That's the thing about that dream that still bothers me is like I buy that. Like, someone would do that.
Like some guy who he would
God.
show up.
It would be a thing in the bleachers in Yankee Stadium for sure, where some dude like wearing his own thing and he's trying to brand himself and he's like, "Here, let me see your ball." It's like, "You can listen to my shit on SoundCloud. I'm kind of blowing up. I got like 5 subscribers." Yeah.
Anyways, welcome back to Mudville. We
Mudville.
are back for
Dreamville.
episode.
That's something else.
Oh, that's something different. Oh
Yeah.
man, yeah. It's been quite a week around the worlds of baseball and film, respectively.
Lot going on. Lot
Well,
going on.
it's been a lot of wins for money and capitalism, and for the folks who possess a lot of it.
a lot of
the
owner class is killing it right now.
Yeah, they're doing great.
Yeah.
And that extends to all facets of life.
Yeah.
But money is undefeated, and sometimes those victories come at the expense of things that we love.
Like the Oakland A's fans.
Yeah. And one of them is a little bit represented here in this Variety article that I just want to read a little bit of quickly because I find it pretty funny.
You can, of course, dive into the article, but can we talk about the headline and the way that they're describing Joe Russo real quick?
Yeah, sure. You want to
So, just the headline of this is Avengers Endgame director Joe Russo expects a fully AI movie within 2 years. It's just funny to be like, pandering to the worst part of your audience.
These are the MCU directors, of course, the auteurs behind the second highest grossing movie of all time, Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
Which you wouldn't know from every time that these 2 idiots open their mouths. It's always in service of some new horror show that doesn't even exist yet, but they're already signing their names to
Naturally.
years in advance. The article goes, "It's no secret that the Russo brothers are creating content with an eye towards the future. The directors behind some of the MCU's biggest blockbusters have already been dropping ominous warnings about the future of cinema as it relates to Gen Z's viewing behavior and the rise of artificial intelligence." First of all, I kind of respect the framing from what's supposed to be an objective source here
Sure,
at Variety.
yeah.
They're like, this is a fucking horror show. Everything that these guys say. I just want to preface this. The last few
kinda
times
funny.
that Joe Russo has opened his mouth, first it was during the pandemic. It was about the end of movie theaters and about how theatrical distribution may not always be necessary because
What an ass.
the industry is moving towards like streaming or whatever. A theory that has already been disproven in every way possible just 2 or so years later.
3 words. People like movies.
Yeah.
Like, people enjoy the whole experience of going to the theater.
Yeah,
And,
well,
like, you know,
exactly.
not being bothered for 2 hours and enjoying a bucket of popcorn. A literal bucket. Where else can you eat a bucket of something and not be judged?
Well, Yankee Stadium, you can eat a bucket of chicken
That's
and
true.
you can
That's a
watch
good point.
Judge.
That's true.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
we go.
There's something there.
Yeah, I would say so. They were quoted again talking about how Gen Z doesn't have the attention span for typical movies
They
anymore.
make 3.5 hour movies that are the most boring things to watch.
Oh
on
yeah,
the
no,
Like-
they make.
Their movies are already AI made. Like,
Yeah, these two are AI essentially. They're just advocating for their friends.
They also look like the 5th and 6th Impractical Jokers.
They look like. Do you, that was a good one. Do you remember the I think you should leave sketch where Tim is talking about like I need 50 slick back hair wigs for my mob movie. I thought it was going to be a hit, but it fucking sucks. These two would star in that movie.
They would. They'd wear the stanzas.
Yeah, it would be
The
starring
stanzas.
Joe and Anthony. The stanza wig
They also
fedoras.
have 1,000 plastic meatballs. Does anybody want them?
That would be more entertaining than their entire filmography.
God.
Man,
That's the thing. Like, some of those Marvel movies, when I was a kid, I think I said this, like, really early on in Mudville. And I always want to be careful when I say anything relating to Marvel. Not because I think people will get mad at me, because I don't want to come off like somebody who enjoyed those movies that much.
Oh no, I think it's okay. We were like
we were
17
young.
at
We were
the
young.
like peak of those
We were-
movies.
we were
You know,
young and
we were
naive.
kids. We didn't know anything.
Yeah.
We had the whole world ahead of us. We
Winter
were just
Soldier's a good movie.
frolicking in the flowers, watching Civil War or
Yeah.
whatever the fuck. They shoot TV commercials shot in a parking lot. The article goes, Russo, who says he's on the board of a few AI companies, which we can probably just stop reading because like that discredits everything else
Yep.
that he's about to say,
Cut
even
it
if it
there.
wasn't stupid as shit on its own.
Yeah.
Um, has a lot of ideas for what AI movies would look like. One version is a constantly evolving story, either in a game or in a movie or a TV show. A movie starring my photoreal avatar and Marilyn Monroe's photoreal avatar. I want it to be
so it's a kink thing that he's talking about.
Oh, no, exactly. He's assuming that whoever is theoretically using this nightmare technology is going to say, put me in the apartment instead of
Sure.
make me JFK and blonde. You don't get that reference, but hey, that's okay.
No, I can imagine.
If one podcast listener gets that, I will consider it a
Maybe
success.
our guy from Belgium. By the way, shout out our one fan in Belgium.
Oh yeah, shout out to Belgium. We've gotten like 6 listens in Belgium. So
Shouts to
whoever
Belgium.
you are, Belgium dude, we love you.
Crushing it.
Keep
Eat a
listening,
waffle for
please.
us.
Yeah, we'll eat a waffle for you.
Actually,
even.
that's better. Yeah.
It mimics your voice, and suddenly now you have a rom-com starring you that's 90 minutes long. So you can curate your story specifically to you.
Does he forget that, like, what? Okay, so this guy is a man who made his living off of mass appeal, lowest common denominator films. And he thinks that the next wave is going to be hyper-specific filmmaking.
More importantly, this is a man who's made his living making movies.
That too.
And he's
What are you
talking
talking about?
He's advocating for the death of at least creativity in movies.
This
Certainly
sounds like a metaverse
radical art.
feature, not a fucking movie.
That's the kind of thing. Like that's
God.
why I'm not particularly worried about this ever becoming prevalent in society because
Sure.
it's just so impractical.
Yeah.
Like the
Having
idea that
Yeah, go
that somebody is going to come home from work and say, "I've had a hard day. Let me struggle to date." Marilyn Monroe for 80 minutes
Let me-
before I finally get her at the end.
Let me deep fake myself onto Billy Crystal and Harry Met Sally. That'll make everything better.
I just want to see myself in the sweater. Oh, brother. Yeah,
don't know
okay.
about
The
that.
article continues. Mustard suggests, because the guy he was talking to is named Donald Mustard, by the way. Yeah, so it's him.
Was it him in the boiler room with the lead pipe?
Yeah, he's talking to Donald,
Terrible.
Mustard, Jeff,
Wait, that
Relish, and
sounds like-
Tom Ketchup.
Yeah, it sounds like one of Trump's like tax people. It's like he moved all his money to Donald Mustard. He was eating a hot dog in the legal meeting, and they were like, "Mr. Trump, we need an alias for you." He's like, "Hold on, how about Donald Mustard?" They're like, "Genius, sir." All the people love Donald Mustard, don't they, folks? We all know it was him.
This is that's not a bad impression. I mean,
Hey, I had years to get it.
it's
done.
better than mine.
That's
Yeah.
fair enough. Yeah. It better be good at this point. Meanwhile, Joe Biden's is just, you kind of sound like you've lost
Joe
your
Biden
voice.
is just like kind of
Hey.
a guy who like kind of knows what's happening
Yeah.
sometimes.
Imagine the weirdest guy at a bodega at any given time, and imagine him wearing sunglasses, and that's Joe Biden. It's like, hey, you're out of cherry Coke. It's like, listen up, Jack. Fill it back up. That's my Joe Biden impression.
Yeah.
This has been the
okay.
presidential impression segment of the Mudville podcast.
Let's not
Anyway.
do Obama.
No, that'd be bad.
Mustard suggests the TVs that Samsung and a lot of companies are making now, they already have enough processing power just in the TV itself, where we're not very far off, where you could render anything into real time, meaning you could request your AI TV to insert you into Endgame and watch yourself as it happens. Make me Doctor Strange, Russo jokes, but the concept is real.
Wait.
It'll just be able to conk you in and swap it out in real time and just do it all right there, Mustard says. And so I don't know the timeline, but I don't think it's super far away.
Okay, hold on. So the idea here is that you'd be able to replace Doctor Strange, quote unquote. In reality, in practice, what this technology would look like is that it just kind of puts you in as an extra somewhere in the background, and you're like, look, there I am, and you're watching the action like your little AI avatar with weird generated reactions to shit. Like, there's no way. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I think the idea is like they
So
make
stupid.
you like Iron Man or something.
Who wants
which,
what's the point
by the
of
way,
watching the what? Who okay.
is developing this technology? Because it's not them. You know, it's not them.
No.
Like I feel like
If it was
these
them,
guys.
he'd have more intelligent things to say about it. This is-
I feel like these guys are making pretty big promises with their mouths that other people's
God.
brains have to then fulfill.
like he is the Musk of the film world. Like,
I will say though,
Man.
this guy does know how to appeal to the core tenet of cinema, which is being conked in.
everybody just wants to watch a movie where you can just chill,
Conk
sit
me.
back, relax, and go conk me in, buddy.
Oh, brother.
Conk me in, Joe.
I don't have much more to say about the Russo brothers now or ever. Every time that they open their mouths, it's about killing movie theaters or revolutionizing some impractical technology that will objectively hurt cinema and probably and theoretically line the pockets of their
Of Joe
corporate
Russo.
bosses if the people who were operating this technology weren't so fucking stupid.
So wait, hold on. The news from the cinema world is that the Russo brothers are hurting the cinema world.
and the extent to
What year
which
is it?
they are committed to embodying all of the worst impulses of Hollywood producer brain
Oh God.
just never ceases to amaze me.
They're like the villains in like season 2 of Barry, which, by the way, is great. Have you watched the new season?
I have.
Oh,
It's so good.
It's real
I'm
good.
really love it. Are you like caught up fully?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We won't spoil it on the podcast, of
No, but
course.
it's great.
I'm
Worth
very
watching.
excited for it. Yeah. I
Good
love the
stuff.
Fred Armisen
Oh
cameo
my
when he
God.
shows up,
It
just
was
like
so
as
good.
the
The guy.
sweatiest, like
The
Eastern
sweatiest man.
European ever.
It's so good. Like, what was it? Chewy? Yeah, the guy Chewy. Like, Chewy.
Oh, man.
That guy's really good.
Ugh.
They have a podcast. He has a podcast in that show.
The guys who were going to kill Barry have a podcast.
They have a podcast.
In more depressing news, the Oakland Athletics announced they are probably moving to Las Vegas, which of course,
Boo.
yeah, means that they are abandoning the city of Oakland, the entire community and everything that it represents. A team
Terrible.
that has been there since the 1960s is now seeking to cash in on gambling profits. What actually happened here is the Oakland Athletics agreed to buy 50 acres of land in Las Vegas, and the idea is that at some point that plot of land will have a baseball stadium constructed upon it, which will be funded by the taxpayers of
Great.
Nevada. and then a team will play in that stadium, which will be put together by the same folks who have currently organized the worst roster in the history of professional baseball,
Yep.
and have at least 3 more years in Oakland, whether they like it or not.
Terrible. I mean, this is, it's just tragic. Like, this is, if you are an A's fan, I don't know. I mean, you're used to it at this point, right? So, like, the Raiders leave and they go
you're
to
used
Vegas.
to it first, but also there's a lot of optimism involved in that plan. First of all, like
Fair.
they say that they want to move by 2027. They haven't even officially agreed to like
How long does it take
move
to
the
build a
team. They
stadium?
haven't gotten the city like governments that they
Yeah.
haven't bribed enough city
Sure.
officials to like
Sure.
as to say officially we're the Las Vegas whatever.
Right. Also, the thing is, baseball is planning to expand by then. So why don't they just put one of the expansion teams in Vegas? Like,
that's the thing is Vegas was going to get one of these
Yeah.
teams regardless. This is just John Fisher, a cheap owner, wanting
He's
to
a shithead.
capitalize on what he sees as a cash cow
Yeah.
in the world of gambling, which you of course see on every ad break. You see an
Yeah.
ad for
Of
FanDuel or
course.
for
All the time.
DraftKings. Yeah, it's everywhere. So
Yeah.
they want to build their stadium right next to the casino, which I think might even be a mistake. Like,
Dude.
I don't know who's going to watch this team in Las Vegas.
Pete Rose is literally going to try to kneecap John Fisher. I mean, at this point, how can you be this in bed with the gambling companies and then not have Pete Rose in the Hall of Fame?
Pete
why
Rose
isn't he
is
in
a
there?
shit. I don't
Gambling.
care about
No,
him.
I am with you. It's just very hypocritical. I get the appeal because they have football, and so now if they have baseball, they have something to do every year on a weekend. Excuse me. They have something to do year round on the weekend, being like a professional sporting event. It's just that this is and they have hockey. I forgot about that. Golden Knights. Now they're just missing a basketball team, which basketball I think they said they want to go to like 36 teams or something, so they might get one then too.
So does baseball, I think,
It's,
and good.
Yeah, I want more
expansion
teams.
would be great.
I agree.
I would love to see
Good
that.
to have more teams. Hockey just went to 32, I think. So there's like, or they might be at 31.
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't know enough about hockey, but it's just I think it's strange that Vegas has professional teams at all, just because of how dangerous that could be for gambling. But whatever. Also, I know this is separate, like kind of. It's just that it's for as a city to have professional athletes in. Like I don't know. Like think back to like Henry Ruggs like killing someone in his car, and just like the whole city being like a party city, and having young guys with millions and millions and millions of dollars in a city that's known for making bad decisions. It's just it's all there. I don't like any of it. I really don't.
It's kind of a what could go wrong situation.
Yeah, you're like begging them to be stupid, which
You're begging them to bet.
That
first
too.
of all, which
Yeah.
like if you're gonna suspend Jamison Williams,
Yeah.
the Lions receiver, 6 games.
Calvin Ridley got a year.
Yeah,
And then they're doing 6 games
but,
now?
But Jamison Williams was suspended for placing a bet that was legal in the parking lot of like some
Oh, God.
facility or something. So if you're gonna get that
Yeah.
technical with how you apply the rules, you can't be going all in on putting teams in Las Vegas
I don't
and
like it.
advertising and like partnering with
Yep.
all of these companies. I mean, first of all, it's hypocritical, but it's also predatory towards
Yeah.
your players.
Yeah.
The ones who ultimately end up paying the price for the league making irresponsible decisions
Yeah.
won't be the league. It'll be the players, and it'll be people who will then have narratives turned against them that
I honestly think this is like a very different discussion as well. I keep on trying to turn it, and I promise I'm not doing this intentionally. But I feel like the Trump era has like a lot of like ringing repercussions in the world of like business and like public figures, and like just think people get like these sorts of entities get away with a lot of shit that the media would have called them out for, and they wouldn't have been able to do in a way that before. I think people just kind of realize they could just kind of do whatever they want. And it's like, no one can really say anything. It's like, because it's money. Everybody understands it's because of the money. Baseball can be in bed with gambling and still have all these, the rules about it, and essentially just a moral code of don't bet, but here we're going to move to Vegas and like whatever, and take all the money from FanDuel and DraftKings and whatever. I don't know. That's like an American culture thing that I think has been, coming for a bit. It's just all very weird. Everything is strange and annoying.
It really is sad how much can just be rooted back to the fact that people with money are the ones making decisions, and other people with money are the ones influencing the people making those decisions.
Yep.
And
We all
it's
have
just
to deal
like
with it.
at the
Yeah.
end of the day, it's always money. And whether it's
Yep.
baseball or whether it's film or whether it's art, no matter what it is, billionaires and the people in power and the people with all of the money will forever be committed to sucking out whatever profit margins that they can at the expense of you and at the expense of me and all of the
Yep.
fans and all of the people who make whatever operation they are actively ruining great.
Yep.
And
It's
that
funny, too.
is going to continue forever and ever. And
These are, kind of facets of American culture that have been around for a long time. And going back to a time in the country, leisure time was not necessarily exploited and monetized by a ruling class that has just been able to take every bit of it, squeeze our enjoyment of whatever it is as a culture, and turn it into a way to make money. Which, baseball and movies, they are as American as apple pie, quote unquote. It's they're both that kind of. You think of like the golden age of America, like Babe Ruth, and the
yeah.
new cinema star, and whatever.
Quote, unquote.
It's just exactly. But it's a whole other discussion as well, whether or not that actually exists. Whatever
It doesn't.
But I know. But the idea of it, but the idea that's sold to us as
Right, of
Americans,
course.
but it's the same idea that has been wrong with or making things worse steadily for 100 years. Like it's
well, for longer than that, but that has accelerated for sure over
Yeah.
the past 100 years.
Yeah. This is definitely the most white dudes with a mic that we've ever gotten, but it's still
Let's
true.
continue it. I'm having fun.
I'm enjoying. No wonder people do this shit.
What else can we talk about? Like
What's getting ruined?
fishing?
Fishing?
Or,
I feel like fishing's actually.
I'm just thinking of like white dude stuff. What else are we talking about?
Fishing, football. Aaron Rodgers is a New York Jet.
Everything bagels.
That's,
like IPAs.
Dude, love and everything bagel. But did you know that upstate they call them Long Island bagels? How fucked up is that? This is
The
stupid.
Mandalorian. That's
something.
definitely a white guy.
That
I
is-
mean,
I Star Wars in general. That's
Yeah.
a good one. Avengers, but we already touched on that.
we did.
Yeah.
We touched all the bases.
We did. Baseball joke.
You want to talk about some of the baseball
The actual
happenings from
baseball
around
stuff.
the week?
You want to touch all the baseball bases?
Do we want to touch all of the bases?
Yeah.
I
why
love
not?
touching the bases.
Let's touch some bases.
Let's touch them.
Let's touch them. Brandon Nimmo is the best hitter in baseball so far through 20 games?
Oh yeah, could you back that up a little? Give me some stats from him.
Yeah, he has a 1.6 WAR, leading the league. He's hitting 350, and he has a WRC plus of 170, which actually is, I think, not leading the league, but it's up there.
Sure.
He is leading the league in WAR, or at least tied in offensive WAR, according to Fangraphs. And if you're curious, he's tied with Acuna. But that is interesting because the guy was a free agent this offseason and did not get one of those monster contracts that some of the other guys got. He kind of just like slunk back to the Mets without a lot of fanfare, it seemed like. And everybody knew he was a great hitter. I mean, that was like his whole thing in the offseason is like, if you want to go get a bat, Brandon Nimmo is available. And then, I don't know, a lot of teams that I could think of, the Yankees, who are contenders who could use the offense, did not go after him, which I find interesting.
Yeah,
Also,
you-
Sean Murphy is fourth in WAR.
Interesting.
Speaking of additions. But yeah,
Taj Bradley looks like the most refined of the young pitching prospects that have debuted so far this year. Grayson Rodriguez looks a little bit raw. Mason Miller
He's
gave
young.
up 4 runs tonight super early on against the Angels.
it's his second start.
Whereas Taj Bradley, stuff plus, is off the charts. His fastball, slider, curve are all up in numbers. He's getting results, and of course the Rays had to option him back down to AAA to manipulate
The Rays
service
doing
time.
Rays things.
Yeah,
Actually,
Rays doing
pitching
Rays
this season
things.
has been really interesting. Like Luis Castillo and Garrett Cole right now are neck and neck in like early Cy Young odds. But Garrett Cole looks, excuse me, about as dominant as we've seen him since he was on the Astros, which is kind of fun. Luis Castillo has ascended to a separate plane that he was ever on with the Reds, which is, also, I mean, you put a team behind this guy, light a fire under him and say, hey, we're trying to actually do something, and look at what he can do. I mean, it's amazing.
Can I victory lap that? Because he was my Cy Young prediction to start the year.
Yeah.
But if I'm going to victory lap that one, I do have to say I predicted the Chicago White Sox to be good, and they started 7-16 to start the year. I do have to own that one a little bit.
Not good.
But the Tampa Bay Rays beat the hell out of them over the weekend. They did just drop tonight's game to fall to the horrible record of 20-4.
If you're a fan of an AL East team, which we both are, and I won't try to hammer this too much, but it's kind of, I don't want to say it. I really don't, because it's a stupid saying. It's not a stupid saying. It's just not like always true.
Say it.
It feels like it's getting late early. I mean, honestly, they're 20-4.
I get it.
There's 16 games over 500.
I certainly.
It's not even May.
I undervalued them for sure in our preseason predictions. I did not
They almost
properly
have the
assess their
division
value.
locked up. Who is going to make a run? Who can contend with this?
It's incredibly difficult to look at this team, especially this rotation, and not see them as heavy favorites. And the fact that I think that there are still so many potential winners of the American League just goes to show how deep that conference is and how many teams really are fully built to contend this year. I could see, of course, the Yankees, the Rays, the Blue Jays, the Astros, even the Twins.
Yeah.
The Angels, the Mariners. I mean, this is some of the best baseball that we've seen in a very long time.
The AL is extremely contentious. I mean, if the Rays can do this for another month, the Yankees rode 2 hot months last year to a division title when they literally were the worst team in baseball for August. They were in contention with the worst team in the history of the franchise in August. They played some of the worst baseball they've ever played in August, and they still somehow won the division because they stayed hot for 2 months to start the season. Maybe 3. I don't remember exactly. But leading up, it was like the All-Star break. It was like right before the All-Star break, so like July. But it's kind of getting hard to see a way where the Rays don't end up winning the East. It's truly, it's kind of scary.
Speaking of the All-Star break, what were the Los Angeles Dodgers doing last July? Because in the past week, Mookie Betts, Max Muncy, and Cody Bellinger have all gone on paternity leave.
Everyone knows what they were doing.
So, sure. What were they doing? But also, what were they eating? What were the Dodgers eating in July? Because, whatever it was, I feel like you found the
someone needs
solution
to
male infertility.
Yeah. The impotency industry is about to blow up. They're going to study the Dodgers.
Go talk to the Dodgers. They have a 100% conception rate.
Well, we don't know that.
Yeah.
Kershaw might have been trying, and we have no idea.
Kershaw might be shooting blanks for all we know.
It's possible. Man, too many bullets out of his arm. He forgot to. Anyway.
Walker Buehler, maybe his arm surgery lost his confidence.
Could be. Something with his testosterone. A little down.
Blake Treinen is so woke that he is so based that he thinks having sex with women is gay.
It's he's come all the way around on it, actually, which makes sense. Speaking of surprise fucking.
Great segue.
I don't know. The Pirates are in first place. Talk about it.
The Pirates are 16 and 8 now. They just extended Brian Reynolds on a very, I think, team-friendly contract for the numbers that he's been putting up this year. They signed him to 8 and 108, I believe, off the top of my head.
What's the AAV on that? Can I do the math real quick?
It's like 13 or something.
That's shockingly low.
I think that it's like a back-heavy deal, back-loaded.
Sure.
He's making more of his money in 2031 or whatever.
Right.
Because I do think that the Pirates are going to be good for quite a long time.
That roster's talented. And this is without O'Neal Cruz.
I would say probably not yet, but in I think that they're playing above their heads right now. But in 2-3 years or so, they could ascend with the rise of both Cruz's, first O'Neal, but also Dillon when they drafted him this year.
Yeah, that's true.
Like
First
the best hitting prospect in quite a long time.
Yep.
Guy is hitting above 500 in all college ball, but I'm not here to talk about that. I don't know much
Be
about
up in
it.
about 2 years then if he's already going to be coming out of college that hot. So.
Yeah, but this is the best that the Pittsburgh Pirates have looked in a very long time. This is the only time that we've really seen them spend any sort of money at all.
Yeah. I mean, and Andrew McCutchen is in the middle of a renaissance unseen since Matt Carpenter last year. So that's kind of, it's fun to see. But
if you're a fan of Pittsburgh baseball, I think you actually have
It's a good
something
time.
to be excited about for the first time in a very, very long time.
now, naturally, they'll crash and burn probably around the time of the All-Star break. But it's fun for now, so enjoy it while it lasts. And then
Sure.
maybe O'Neal Cruz comes back, and I don't know, things will be fun. I would be surprised if this team makes the playoffs. I'll just say that much. Even though they are starting out very hot, and that's like enough to kind of hang your hat on as a Pittsburgh fan. That's really, I mean, how much can you really ask for as a team that's won probably 65 games on average for the last 5 years? If I had to guess, I honestly don't know what their records were, but that feels right. But I don't know. The NL Central, is very strange because the Cardinals and the Reds have the same amount of wins. Also, which is nuts.
It's
very
really just
weird.
looks like the inverse of what everybody predicted.
Yeah. I mean, I had the Cardinals handily winning that division, and then, also the Brewers look way better than I think anyone gave them credit for, even though, obviously they were quote-unquote contenders coming into the year. But they actually, I mean, they're playing great ball. Their pitching looks great. They can hit. It's their offseason, tweaks worked, it seems, and then, Christian Yelich is still a bit of an anchor, but they're doing all right.
Yeah, he lost his power.
Yeah, he really did. But yeah, it's fun to watch.
Something else that I wanted to bring up that I didn't write this down or anything, but it just popped up and I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Aroldis Chapman is fully back, and I don't care.
No, I don't care.
I don't care at all.
It's not
And
gonna last.
I don't think that is me being a salty Yankees fan. I think that that's a guy who didn't give up a run in 2021 until late May.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's back and now people are saying, "Oh, he's pumping 103. We've got prime Chapman back." Wait until June.
Yeah, give it time.
Because once he gave up that run in May, he was useless for the next month.
Yep.
So
the next year and a half.
Well, yeah, okay. True. Useless for the next month. Then he turned it back on a little for 2 weeks, and then it was just all downhill from there.
I mean, yeah, this is not going to last. We all know that. I mean, he is not giving up any hard hit balls. He has not been barreled once yet this season. I mean, there's going to be one game. There's going to be one game where it kind of there it is. He gets hit. And then after that, it's just going to be a shit show. And it's probably going to be in about a month. I mean, we've seen it before with him. It's the story every year. He's hot to start the year, and then he collapses, and then he's bad. And then for the rest of the season, by the way, if he does get dealt before this happens, they're going to be like, well, we just have to wait until Prime Chapman shows back up because we know we still got it. We saw it in April. It's gone. By the time it's gone, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
It is not coming back until next April.
Yeah, until next March.
It's gone.
Yeah.
That's how he rolls every year with him.
And somebody's gonna trade for him, and it's gonna blow up in their face. Yeah, it probably will be the Mets.
Or the Astros, which I would love.
Also, Spencer Strider might be the best pitcher in baseball.
It's either him, Cole, or Castillo.
Oh, man.
I mean, he's unreal.
9 strikeouts in all 5 of his starts this year. He got exactly 9 in the first 4 before striking out 13 against Miami last night in an 11-0 victory in which he flirted with a perfect game.
Yep. Until...
Oh, man. I want to get Spencer Strider on the podcast.
Booted a ball. Okay, yeah, you work on that.
I will. Well, but because I think he's the closest that we have to a best friend in the MLB. Because he's a dude. He's our age.
That's
he
true.
listens to the Strokes. He's a huge Bernie Sanders guy. He's got a sick mustache. We would vibe with Spencer Strider hard.
Yo, Spence, come on the pod.
If he likes movies, Spencer, if there's even one movie that you want to talk about
He's
that you
listening,
have,
right?
yo, definitely, of course.
Spence, we know you hear us.
The guy.
Mustache Spence.
If
Can I
you
call
have
you Mustache?
any movies, hit us up. We'll talk about anything.
That'd be really fun.
We feel like you and I feel like we'd vibe.
Dude,
You'd be
love
our friend.
The Strokes. How do you know he listens to the Strokes? I didn't know
He
that.
did. There was like a profile on him, like a while, like in
Man.
I think it was in last off season or something. It was like the hottest pitcher for the Braves, and it's like, well, it was like everything that he did.
He
and
wears
was like,
skinny
yeah,
jeans
I
and
was-
listens to the Strokes. He's the next big thing.
Yeah, basically, he was like,
Love
I went to college and I'm a vegan and shit like that, and like I was like,
Man.
okay, yeah,
That'd be sick.
I'm not a vegan, but everything, all
the rest
all
of
the
it,
other
the
stuff
rest of
about
it, the
him.
rest of it we like.
Huge cheeseburger guy myself.
That's no, don't tell him that, dude. We're trying to get him on the pod. Come on now.
I was telling everybody else.
That's okay. Fair.
Yeah,
Fair.
I felt like I had to clarify that.
Yeah,
that I
that's
do meet my daily intake of protein. Well, that's probably going to wrap it up for this week's Mudville. We had a bit of an informal episode today, but
Yeah.
we're going to come back at you next week. I think I've got my friend coming on the podcast soon, and we're going to
Nice.
talk about some Tony Scott and watch The Fan.
Ooh, yeah, we should do that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be fun. That
So-
movie. The only thing I know about it is it's very wet.
I have not
very
seen
wet
it. Oh
film.
yeah, dude. Tony Scott, he big like rain guy. Like
Yeah.
a lot of his movies have got those like dramatics, like the big
Yeah.
quick cuts to shots of Denzel Washington, and like there's like the
I think
rain.
that's what this is too. I think that's
Oh,
exactly
dude,
what this
it's
movie
gonna
is.
be sick. I'm so excited to
Yeah.
talk about it.
That'll be fun.
Well,
We'll
this
do
has
it.
been Mudville, a podcast about baseball and cinema. I have been Nolan Rabine.
I have been Brody Stubb.
Thank you for listening. Please rate us 5 stars wherever you are. That would be so nice. We would get
Do it.
more listeners, and we would like love you forever. We don't have a Patreon or anything. We're free. Just all we ask, 5 stars. Anyway,
Maybe one
thank
day.
you. Goodbye.
Thank you guys. See you next week.